Well, as you can see, I've made a start. Oh, move some of the crap away. The bolts, the bolt heads, or nuts, you can find them. Yeah, the nuts just sheared off completely. Not sure if you can quite see that, but as soon as I put any pressure on them, snap, off they came. So yeah, the lack of lubricant when made in Kirby strikes again. This one was apparently made in 1963 in the Kirby factory. They were notorious for not greasing things and just putting them together almost dry. Probably saving a few pence every 100 bites or something. But I've started pilot drill in here. I did originally try and drift it out with a punch and a reasonably weighty hammer, £1/2 hammer. But yeah, I didn't want to hit any harder in case I damaged something, so I thought, discretion being the better part of valour, I shall drill it out. So I'm just going to finish off this pilot hole, get it a little bit deeper. Good sharp drill bits are what you need for a task like this. Try this one next time. What I'm doing is just drilling a small hole and then using steadily increasing drill bits. Increasing the diameter of that hole. Trick is, get that hole as central as you possibly can. The swarf that comes off these little bits of metal will be quite sharp and quite hot. Mind you don't get them stuck in your fingers. And wear eye protection when you're doing something like this. As you see, I've got an increase in hole size now. With a bit of luck, if your drill just spins and it doesn't seem to be biting into the metal, it's a blunt drill bit. Try a different drill bit. Sometimes it's worthwhile just putting I can reach it. Just putting a drop of oil. It doesn't stop the drill from cutting the metal. The drills don't work by abrasion, they work by actually cutting. So they're digging into the metal rather than wearing it away. So the oil actually helps that cutting motion, helps keep your drill bit sharp. Oh, hopefully, let's see if we can get through this. Alright. That's not too far off now. I'm going to keep drilling into it until I can remove it without wrenching and writhing at things and getting things bent and out of shape. Okay, you can see now the swinging arm is moving, or rear forks as they call them in Moulton circles. That rubber block should be bonded onto there, but cross that bridge when we come to it. At least it's moving around now. I just need to finish drilling this. On the other side. It's moving. Oh, I think a bit of pushing and pulling, I should get that off. And there we have it. One Moulton rear fork. I'm going to have to take the caliper off, but probably never been off the machine in the last 60 years, nearly 60 years. Right, I'm going to have to fix that. That's the metal part of the bonded rubber suspension unit. And you can also, if I can just balance this, there's a modification you can do that adds a plate across here and sort of triangulates this, and strengthens it. Now this is one of the earlier ones, so you can see that's not welded, it's not TIG welded, it's a lot neater. That's brazed. I'm reasonably sure that's brazed without scraping the paint off. Paint will have to come off at one point. I'm hoping that's straight as well. But the welded ones were the ones that used to crack a lot. Now then, if I bring that down here, talking of cracks, not sure if you can see it, there's the starts of a crack there. In fact, I'm not sure if that is welded or brazed actually, but yeah, another reinforcing plate here and there. I will make it strong enough to support my weight. As long as the tubing's still okay. Dropouts look pretty meaty. I don't think they need reinforcing. The pivot points possibly need a little bit extra, bit of extra reinforcement. Depends what I do. I might see if I can figure out something a little bit different, a little bit more 21st century for that pivot. Watch this space. Oh, you can see there. You can see there the rubber block that forms the suspension. The metal sandwich part of it is still attached to the forks because it's come unbonded. Just a case of gluing it using a flexible glue. You can also see how that's attached to the frame. That screw, which also attaches the brace for the rear part of the frame and carrier, but you've got that screw there, another on the other side, and bring some light around, one on the underneath there. Those are just self tappers, quite straightforward. The rear metal part there that you can see all rusted of the rubber has a oval section that goes into the frame. Also need to drill those out. That's going to be fun without a pillar drill, but I'll manage. Let's have a look at the bottom bracket. Very mucky, but yeah, that's going to be upgraded. I've got some ideas in mind for that, but I'll take that off when I come to sorting the frame out. And then of course I'll have to bond it to the appropriate section of fork. Talking of the rear fork, you can see the metal section of the suspension there, and that's riveted in. I'm not sure. Let's turn this round. Let's see one of the rivets there, if it'll focus. There we are. And there. And if I flip the fork over, it's a bit easier to see these ones there, and obviously on the other side. They need drilling out, this needs stretching off, and hopefully it's not too rotten. But, and then I can do a little bit of strengthening on that bit there where the little crack is. There's the one at the other side as well. That's just with the suspension being seized, it's put too much pressure on it and caused a little crack in the brazing. But you can put strengtheners going across there and across here to deal with any flex in the fork at all. Stops them from twisting. And given the fact that I'm not exactly lightweight, that's probably a good idea. Welding might be a bit too extreme for the forks. It tends to get a strong weld, but it weakens the area around it, especially on old metal. Shouldn't, but it does. You know, there's no science behind it. It just, that's the way it happens. Well, there probably is science behind it, but I'm not. I'm not going to look into it too deeply. But yeah, I shall get myself some brazing kit and braze on a couple of extra plates to strengthen that, and then that shall get painted up. I'll have to find a nice match for this blue. But yeah, several coats of undercoat, and I'll get some paint to match that. Probably have to be a Halford's rattle can job, but due to budget, but it'll do the job, and then I can get that metal bit bonded to the rubber at some point.